We're diving into something a little bit different, but powerful. I'm joined by an incredible guest, Jada Willis, former HR consultant, CEO, who completely reinvented her career and now coaches CEOs on how to level up their leadership and business strategy. But what really makes Jada's story unique isn't just her business success, it's how she uses extreme, unconventional challenges like firewalking, walking on glass, even breaking arrows with your throat to overcome fear and unlock your true potential in those that she coaches. We're talking about real, actionable lessons, facing fear, building resilience, and how these intense experiences can actually help you transform your mindset, your business, and in some cases, even your life. So if you're ready to rethink what personal growth looks like, maybe light a little fire under your own goals, stick around. Jada, thanks for sitting down with me. This is awesome.
I love it. Absolutely.
The reason you're here, well, it's because you're awesome, but also I saw you were doing firewalking and breaking arrows and things.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that.
In the UK.
You did it in the UK.
I did.
See, I didn't see that part. I thought you were like in Casey.
Nope.
No, I'm just kidding.
I crossed the pond just for this. So
wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
okay.
It was, I can't wait to get into it because it was such an experience that it's somewhat indescribable, but I'm going to do the best I can to give you all I got.
Well, we have some shared experience there. We'll get into it.
Okay, cool.
But first, what
yeah.
We've talked about this before. I mean, I've known you for a while. You have successfully, how do you say it? Exited, sold?
That's right.
How do we want to say it? A business. You've done pretty well for yourself.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
I'd like to think so. So I've actually, I've been in HR, human resources, for 20 years and built a Willis HR, an HR consulting firm, had clients in 6 different states, and then sold that business in 2022. And I like to give, every time I say it, I give myself a self high five, man.
You should. Holy
Come on.
crap.
That's the, so no, it's totally the dream and great experience, but it's also, I've been able to parlay into really being a coach for CEOs, focusing around growth. Right. And with that, I do a great deal of keynotes. I do power sessions and also have a community for ambitious, high performing women.
That's pretty rad.
Just
whatever. Just a couple of things.
It's like another day.
Shit. How do you get into coaching just CEOs?
Well, I think what was happening is that it was already happening within my business. I found myself as this business owner, as this HR consultant, the CEOs I was working with, and we were contracted to do only HR, and they started really reaching out to me about decision making and in other parts of growing their operations and growing their business, and it was beyond just the traditional or typical HR things. And I realized after about like a year, I was like, wait a second, this is an HR. And I was like, oh, well, let me just, continue doing this because it was effective and working. And more business owners and CEOs kept reaching out. So I said, okay, this is the piece that's lighting me up right now.
That's cool. Yeah. I can't tell you a few times because one of my businesses, we built websites for years and things. And it's one of the things I've loved is like going into a business to do what you think is just building a website, but you wind up learning all about their business.
Oh, I love it.
And then every once in a while, you uncover someone that works in that business and they're like, well, what does Bill do? Like, well, let's go talk to Bill. And then we go talk to Bill and we're like, Bill doesn't do anything.
Oh my goodness. That happens to you too?
Yeah. And you're like, I'm sorry, Bill. We just exposed you, man.
I sometimes have to warn my CEOs. I'm like, hey, don't introduce me to your team. Like I may already know from the conversations, like sometimes I'm like, I have a lot of questions about that person, but I guarantee you it's like a superpower. I'll walk into an organization. I was like, oh, all right, here's 3 people. This one needs to be promoted. This one needs to be promoted to a client or a customer. and this
sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah. Pursue other interests there.
It happens. Ugh. Yeah. But I mean, that's part of the thing, it's not my problem, I guess.
Yeah,
just building web pages here.
Well, here's the thing is that, at first I had like some sort of identity crisis just for a little bit because I was like, man, I've always been HR. in all actuality, I'm still HR. It's just really from a kind of a different angle.
That's cool.
And I think that every business problem is actually rooted in a people problem. And so whether that is the actual CEO or it's a member of your team, but every business problem, I guarantee you, is connected to a people problem. So I'm actually HR at heart, just delivering it a different way.
That's cool.
I like
it. There's some parallels there to the martial arts world. Yeah, there's a well-known Japanese swordsman, Musashi. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Book of Five Rings? Probably
no.
No? Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So he says, once you learn the way broadly, you see it in all things. Ooh. So like once you master your craft, you begin to see the parallels of your craft and everything in the world, right?
That's powerful.
It's pretty cool, right?
Wow.
That's what it sounds like. You've kind of reached that level of
Can I borrow that? I need that for my website content.
It's out there for everybody.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Musashi. That's Book of Five Rings. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's accurate, right? Same thing of what you're doing from a website perspective. Like you start seeing the gaps. Like I think it's because I'm also just a problem solver. So I
pay attention.
Yeah. Pay attention, listen, solve problems. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, I used to have a teacher that would say, "Pay attention, it's free."
Ooh,
I'm like, I like that one too.
Full of good quotes.
They're not mine. They're not mine. They're not mine. I wish they were mine. If they were mine, I'd be writing books and stuff.
I think you should, but I think that's another podcast. I don't know.
So tell me about the what would you call it? The women.
Grow forward community.
Okay.
Yeah. Grow forward community. I'm so proud of this. And it's just because, and it doesn't mean that men don't need this too. That's going to be the next level, a year or two from now. But I do believe that there's value in the sense of women, I believe, connect differently than men in the professional environment.
Sure.
And what's missing. And so I was a business owner. So I went to all these networking events, all these networking groups. I promise you, I've done it. I've tried it. And there's some value in each of them to a certain degree. Well, I picked out the things that were working, like that really work for women. And I went on this deep dive of research where I know that women don't just need the learning aspect of, education, go to a training, but you also need the continuation of a community, of being surrounded constantly by other people that are going to represent the things that you're growing towards.
Fair enough.
So that's where I started the Grow Forward community. And it's a mixture of attorneys, doctors, paralegals, administrative professionals, business owners. I mean, it's a mixture of folks. We don't have to share the same job title, but just as we were just talking about, that broad understanding, it's so cool how this is also applicable but guess what? They're all growth minded. They all want to improve themselves, improve the world around them, make an impact. And actually, when we do a survey, when you first come on, you fill out like, what are your weaknesses? Like, what do you really feel like you really want to lean into or learn more about? And then what are your strengths? How can you also add value to the community? And it's actually kind of sad how consistent it is.
Oh,
how consistent is it? Like, you know what? Overcoming self-doubt, negotiating, pay and contracts and then just the pieces of making decisions for my business. So it's really about that confidence and learning your zones of genius and how you can show up in this world. So like we design all our programming on a monthly basis based on those surveys.
Wow, that's cool.
You can tell I get really passionate about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, you got to find something that really drives you. That's cool. It's funny how it's very consistent.
It's very consistent. And it's just, again, it's all about the financials. It's all about how do I network, and build my business. And I'm not saying that males don't need this either. I think it's very, very true. But I think even how we build relationships, it's different.
So when you said the word growth,
yes,
I'm sure that was very specific why you used that word. But when you think of the word growth in a male-minded business sense, you think growth like year over year increase in profit growth.
Exactly.
But when you said it from a woman's standpoint, I immediately thought growth, like personal self-growth.
Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting, but why is that?
It's holistic. Well, I think it's just how society has trained us, to think about that, and that women are, and this may be a stereotype, but it's also true. Stereotypically just more emotional in nature, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
I know some pretty emotional dudes.
That's true.
In the business world,
but it comes across differently. I'm not saying that it's not
Okay.
like
Huh.
everyone's emotional in the workplace. It just everyone's also been taught of how to interact in a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
right? But emotions in the sense of from an intuition standpoint, women are going to lean into that mother sense or that women's sense, and it's a real thing to hone.
100%.
But they're also just more likely, and this is just data and research, to lean into more self-help, life coaching, and getting support with overall development. Men will seek that out, but just in different ways and avenues, and it may not be called that.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah, we were just talking about Joe Rogan before we
yeah.
started. There is a very, very big stereotype there. Yeah. Wow.
What do you think about that?
I don't often hear it from the other perspective, right? I try to
Okay.
I want to get more variance in the people I talk to. I work hard on it, but it is still hard to find people who, one, are doing the type of work you're doing, but also willing to talk about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, exactly. Because like even for me, in the HR world, I probably wouldn't have mentioned this before.
Right.
Because you can go into gender stereotypes, then a myriad of other things. And I'm like, listen, here's the deal. Men and women are built differently. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that one's,
awesome,
bad or not. It just means that we're built differently. It's kind of like different personality types. We get to learn about our personality types. What are our strengths? And it's just factual that if you and I arm wrestle right now, I may not win. So I know. I just arm wrestled my best friend the other day and I won.
So I don't know about that.
But all I'm saying is that I think that women in a professional environment get stuck in this like very generic type of leadership development or business development type of forum. And honestly, if I could redo the whole thing, I would. It's not even built for males. It's just a very generic way of, we have a networking event that we're putting together. Okay, well, great. Sign in here, drop your business card, and then go talk to people. What?
Yeah.
It's
we're
not
actually talk to anyone.
Yeah. No, it's not effective, and it's very transactional. And that's not really how business is done. Well, not good business.
So that's one of the things that my teacher, my sensei, who I've obviously, now I do the same thing. I teach people martial arts. I emulate him because it's what I learned. But he always said that he wanted the experience to be transformational, not transactional.
Oof, yes.
So it sounds like something you're going for with the things you're doing.
Has to be. So the things that I say that I've pulled from other groups, right, is that for sure we need some kind of educational learning component. We can't just show up and feel like we're not getting something.
Right. Well, yeah, you do have to sell them something. Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we have a myriad of different programs, but we're hitting usually is going to be, we did the elevator pitch workshop. So we actually taught you, all the members, how to craft their pitch in different settings, whether it's in front of a client that you're speaking to or in front of an audience or just even that networking event. So the thing is that, yes, we're going to put together these structured networking opportunities, but we're going to teach you how to network so that you're building those authentic connections.
That's cool.
You're representing yourself.
Yeah.
And then how to nurture them.
That alone, a lot of people don't know how to network.
They don't know how to network. And that's the thing, and how to build those relationships. But also simultaneously, like, life is hard. And life is lifing right now for a lot of people. So
life is lifing
hardcore.
Yeah.
Right? You need the people around you to support you to know, guess what? I'm in a similar boat. We're going to be okay. We're going to at least try to get through this together. And so that's why the like-mindedness really helps. I'm watching these cool connections. I'm watching how I'm like, oh my goodness, wait, they're talking, they're setting up coffee.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
It's legit.
And then I get to step back. It's kind of like I get to see, oh, I know that you are, struggling in this area. Well, have you thought about, talking to this person? The members themselves set up a mom support group because they're managing teenage kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have bonus kids now, but overall, I couldn't relate to that before.
Right.
Same point in time, they did. And now it's like, every other week they're setting up like basically like I don't know if it's emotional support or
100%.
Yeah, training or otherwise.
Yeah.
But that's still the holistic, need. So what did I miss there? There were a couple of things that other networking groups have or other support groups have. And it's then, wait a second, well, then how do I grow my business? How do I expand my, network if I'm just in this community? You know what's cool? And I didn't plan it. I don't advertise it. They're passing business. They're
Right.
using each other. They're referring each other because they realize like these are high quality folks.
If they're smart, they will. Yeah. Yeah.
They have to apply.
Mm.
They have to be interviewed by my team or I, and then we vote and then we approve you.
That's cool.
And we have turned down members.
That's cool. That's what makes it valuable. You have to actually turn some people down, which is counterintuitive.
Right.
To building a culture and something. You actually have to say no to something.
Yes. I love that.
That's the hardest part.
Core values right there.
That's the hardest part to do.
Not for me. Like,
no?
I'm HR at heart, and I think I value culture and core values so much. But there was that quote, and I learned that ultimately, when you lean into your core values, get ready because it's gonna hurt. There are plenty of things that you have to set boundaries on, and you have to say no to.
Yeah, you gotta be ready.
You gotta be ready. It's a good talk. I can talk to you all day.
Well, cool. So all right. So I get it. I get why you're seeking out new adventures and things to bring to this crew.
Yeah.
What made you find firewalking in the United Kingdom? I mean, of all things. I mean, I did not expect that. I saw what got me was I saw your Instagram where you were like, I'm going to do something crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Jada's going to jump out of an airplane.
Yeah.
You probably already jumped.
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't.
I'm going to
Maybe
say,
I should.
I've done some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I'm never jumping out of an airplane.
Really?
Unless it's like it's real war or something and I have to defend my family. But outside of that,
okay.
I'm not jumping out of an airplane.
I don't know.
I like your optimism.
I went from a no to a now and I don't know. So that's
I like your optimism.
We're going in the right direction, I suppose.
Are we?
Actually, I have to get my doctor's approval because remember I told you in a previous podcast,
yes.
I have MS, multiple sclerosis, lost my vision. They're just like, some things you can't do now. Jump out of an airplane. And I was like,
oh shoot.
I was like, I don't like to be told that I can't do something. So we'll just talk about it. Okay.
Oh shit.
I know I put you in a different direction.
So why
firewalking, right?
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's like 3 to 4 years ago. So this is even before I sold Willis HR. I saw a Tony Robbins event. And a
lot of people saw the firewalking with Tony Robbins. Yes.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, ooh. There was something inside of me
really
that my belly stirred a little bit. And I said, I got excited.
Okay.
And I said, now's not the right time, but we're adding this to the bucket list. Right. And I didn't even it was kind of like a fleeting thing. And I was like, but I really literally added it to my bucket list. And then for some reason, so I like to talk about, as you know, I'm a very spiritual person. And so I pray and meditate every day, journal, all the things. So something happened in January where I was spending time and I went and it was like I call it a God ping or plop. So God plop. And I was like,
ping's a good word.
Okay, God ping. It was like a poke.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, how about that firewalking? And I was like,
weird. Okay.
But it actually it made sense because I have several keynotes coming up. I'm a professional speaker, and I thought I understand that I bring a different kind of energy to my talks. And I was like, what else is my value prop, right? How can I also show them that you can overcome? And whether it's in a leadership environment, whether it's, talking about culture, we all have to build resilience right now. And I'm like, so how do we even demonstrate that? And I went, firewalking. And so did a little Google.
Okay.
And I saw that there was a session in Delaware, Florida, and the UK. And I was like, nope, got to do this now. I was like, this is, it just felt right from a timing perspective. It worked out. And I thought it would also be a cool thing. I looked at all the financials and I said, it's done. And I just emailed and I was like, hey, do you have anyone that comes from America? And he's like, sure. Yeah. In my class, it was folks from Scotland, Poland, obviously the UK, and then I represented America. So
wow.
It was.
You're the only American there?
Yes, for sure. Huh. But it wasn't just firewalking. So I think that was the biggest draw.
Okay.
It was it was instructor training, by the way. It wasn't just come.
Okay. So I didn't get that at the time.
Okay.
You made several posts and I was like, oh, she's training how to do this.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what made it so intensive. These were 10-hour plus days.
Really?
And everybody was because there's so much from a safety perspective.
Sure.
From a psychological perspective. And they also teach you they kind of teach you like, hey, even if you don't have a business, this is how you build a business around this. So I thought that was really neat how they even go through all of the kits, the links to everything. Like it was top notch. Very thorough. And so so now I'm officially a firewalking instructor, a glass walking instructor, a Lego walking instructor. Oh, we'll talk about that. Aero braking with your neck instructor, rebar bending with your neck instructor, board breaking instructor, and then flaming board break instructor. And that took a little while to learn, but it was so much fun.
Well, let's break them down.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
What did they start you off doing?
Firewalking. Okay. Because you have to, because it's so manual and you have to keep, like I probably walked on fire like 20 plus times and you do it every day, multiple times a day. And they teach you the difference between a daytime firewalk and a nighttime firewalk.
Okay.
And a daytime firewalk is much more, it's riskier. It could be,
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, from a psychological perspective, it's hotter, but your brain actually tells you it's not because you can't really see it, right? As much as you can from a nighttime perspective.
It looks cooler at nighttime. Too.
Looks cooler at nighttime. But yeah, it was definitely more intense in the daytime. So you were more likely to have injuries in the daytime than nighttime.
Makes
but
sense.
It's actually a really safe thing to do. Everyone's like, "What? How are your feet?
Yeah.
How are you okay?"
Yeah. And they're like questioning, like, what? How did you? Yeah. I kind of don't want to give away the secret.
Yeah. Don't.
We can't do that. But
I promise, I'm not telling anybody.
I did find that. I mean, I've done it. I did find that it was when I was completed doing it for the first time. It was very much. I want to say transformational. It was kind of like, oh wow, like
it was.
I just put some stuff that I previously thought was difficult behind me, and it sort of like levels you up a little bit.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
You know what's also cool is that you get out over the nerves, well, at least for me, of doing it one time because you just don't know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
And
like what?
But then what's really neat is have you ever done like a bowl burning ceremony?
Bowl burning? No.
Yeah. So it's like if you want to, especially if you want to do it New Year's, I do it every New Year's, and it's like think of the things that you really want to let go of, things that are no longer serving you, things, people, habits, beliefs, all of that. And then you also have to write your intentions. What do you want to cultivate? What do you would bring into your life? But first, what do you let go of? And what's really cool, if you write it on slips of paper, you put it in the fire.
Makes sense.
You are like quite literally stepping on, burning and letting go the things that are they're beneath your feet. They're no longer.
We've done that with some board breaking. So in our martial arts practice, we don't have in a lot of martial arts practices there's like breaking is like a category. A lot of sport martial arts tournaments, breaking is a category where they'll break a bunch of random stuff, baseball bats and all kinds of stuff. We don't in my art we don't have that necessarily, but I've done it.
Okay. Interesting.
And we usually do it as part of much the same way that you'd utilize the firewalking. We use it as an obstacle to get past.
Right.
But I've done it for a couple of workshops that I've run where just bring a big stack of wood.
Love it.
Let people write on the wood, like the thing they want to overcome or whatever. And they smash it and, move on. And I find that the physical act of writing on something and then overcoming it does actually help.
It is.
I've seen it help.
I've seen it help. For me, it's a practice,
Yeah.
a ritual. But here's also another thing that you may want to think about. We did this there, but the board breaking so on one side it's actually blank. On the other side, the side that's your hand's gonna push through. It's actually what you want. So it's like you're pushing through and grabbing what you want.
That's cool.
So it's another
You guys do the palm heel strike, yeah.
Palm heel, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, you're a professional.
I was watching it. I'll try to cut it in. I was watching a Instagram. They were doing it with their face. It was so funny because I think sometimes people can go too far with this stuff, and they were just like smashing with their face. But I was like, "What are you doing?" It broke before they even got it to their face.
Oh my God.
I'm like, "Come on,
really?
Like,
really? No, that's not." So that's one of the reasons why I kind of, in no offense to our, U.S. Based training facilities, but I saw a couple, and I was like,
yeah,
I think I'm gonna go to the UK. I mean, like this guy holds the 2 world records with Guinness Book of Records with the longest, hottest firewalks, and I really just trusted the person that I saw on the screen, and I was like, why don't I travel thousands of miles to like I have family members that are still texting me being like, "Hey, do you want to move home? Is everything okay?"
Some things you just don't need to explain to people.
No.
So what about the glass? How did that come about?
I'm going to tell you this. So folks are asking this question. Okay.
The glass scared me more than the fire.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I was so scared, and I kept asking everybody there, and I was like, "What's the appeal of this? Like 2,000 pieces of glass?" I'm like, "No, I'm like, I can do this fire all day long." And they're just like, so Doug is actually a life coach now. He's also TikTok famous, but he was in my class and from the UK, and he said, "Jada, you didn't come this far not to walk on glass." And I was like, "Damn it,
you got me,
Doug." Now I call him Dougie Fresh. And I was like, "Dougie Fresh." And I said, "All right."
But perhaps not.
Exactly. And I was like, "I'll do it once, Doug. Do it once."
Right.
And I did it. Like if you see some of the video on Instagram, you'll see my face and how like intense it was. But I will tell you, so that's it is
an intense experience.
It's an intense experience, and it's so mindful. And it is such a different.
I love it for that.
It's such and I will tell you, like that's where I knew I was like, I'm never going to be the same. And I was like,
for sure.
And when I tell people this, it may sound cheesy. I don't care, but like, I'll never be the same.
Yeah.
Then I did it once, and then I kept doing it. And then guess what? We made the glass longer. We needed the bed longer and longer.
What was the farthest that you did walking on glass?
I don't know. Probably
a couple feet or longer than that?
Like 15 feet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Like we kept, because the goal is also to challenge you. They don't recommend that you do that for others, and like just because it's from a time perspective and potential injury. Yeah.
It'd be like 500 pounds of glass.
That's a lot of glass.
Yeah.
So and by the way, we had to move all this. We had to set.
So you have to go to someone's house who has that much stuff.
Yeah.
You can't just like show up at a hotel like without planning for that.
This truckload of glasses coming in, just ignore it. But it was, and it was also.
It's a lot of fun creating the broken glass, by the way, while the drinking and smashing.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
Well, it's thicker. Yeah, you have to do the thicker.
Big old wine bottles.
I would drink it.
That's for after the.
Yeah, exactly. We do not allow anyone that has consumed alcohol. But it was. It's hard to explain because you also have to control your body in such a way. Like you have to make sure you're feeling everything, especially your feet at that time. You're also balancing. Like it was, and I think it's also because I was so scared of it, right? Like that was fearful to me.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, let's do this again every day. Let's glass walk. Like it was.
I'll chew the glass.
What
I like about it is it teaches you to commit, which I think that, like the focus is one thing. I mean, it kind of all focus is important, but for me, it was about commitment. It was about committing to this act, because once you get on there, you can't just hop off.
No, it's not. That's an excellent point.
You have to. No, you have to commit and you have to finish, because going backwards is going to be worse.
Can't go backwards.
You gotta finish, and you can't just jump off, and people can't just lift you up. I mean, you have to do it.
So the thing for me,
and I think that's what people are scared of.
Ooh,
honestly, I think that's what
you're
mostly scared of.
Well, they have to follow through. Yeah,
I think so. That's my reading. I mean, maybe yours.
I'm getting hurt. Like that's the other thing. Like they're most scared of. Yes, but also they're just like, aren't I gonna get hurt? But think about that in our day-to-day lives.
I was going to draw a parallel. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Parallel it up.
I was thinking like I've had a couple of fights and it's the same vibe. It's the same feeling. It's the same concern. And with one of those things, it's like, okay, people are watching, so like, I can't just quit.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
Like that feeling is going to be way worse than getting beat up or whatever, but it's this. I swear to you, it was this, for me, it was the same vibe. And it was like, okay, I gotta see this through. And that to me was more scary than anything, because we always want and like you were saying, in like your daily life and your business, your relationships or whatever, you always kind of want to keep a little escape valve.
You do.
You know what I mean? You're like, right? Do I really commit? Like,
ooh, so it's like going on this adventure, choosing something where you don't have an escape button.
No.
Yeah. you literally have to show up. You have to keep going. And that's just, there's
But
no other option.
But in life, we have it, right? We have divorce.
Right.
We have bankruptcy. I could sell this business. I could just close it down. I could, I don't have to finish this stuff, And I think
we have options.
I think society too, and today is kind of a problem. In my opinion.
Me too. No. I'm in on this. The only thing I wanted to add to that, though, of what glasswalking, I think, did for me also is self-control.
Oh, yep.
Do you know what's so weird? And this is the first time I'm publicly saying this, but I find it so much easier to actually control and impact my diet and my food choices than I did before going.
Really?
Because that's something that I've struggled with all my life.
Oh, okay.
And so now
that's fascinating.
Yeah. Let's super psychoanalyze me. And I haven't had my therapist appointment this week, so let's go in. But no, I mean, it's just, it was self-control, but I think it's also related to what you're saying. Like I had to commit, get through, go through it, but also seeing what my body is capable of.
Yeah.
Seeing what I'm capable of, right?
That's specifically 100,000% why we do it. I don't do it. My sensei does it. And these other gentlemen that we've worked with do it in their martial arts practice.
Wow.
100% why. To show you what you are capable of. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, like my teacher, if he's listening to this, he'd be like, don't tell our secrets. But I've seen him with my own student. I was fortunate enough to get one of my own students to black belt a year ago. And we did a little session and he's like, what do you think of that arrow? And my student's like, it looks pretty sharp. He's like, you're going to break that arrow with your throat.
There you go.
And he looked at me like, what the hell you gotten me into? And I'm like, yeah, do it now, bro.
Yeah.
And he was just like, let's go do it. And the guy did it. And he was just like, fuck yeah. When he was done.
Right.
And it was showing him that you're capable of this. And I've seen it in other people too. I've seen them stare it down and they're just like just shaking with fear. Right. And then they do it and they're just like, yeah, dog.
Looks like
I've seen young men become men. And I know that's a thing, but I've seen it.
No.
I've seen it happen. I've seen a boy scared and then he did it. And then I've seen him overcome and be confident right after that.
There you go. That's it. It's the confidence, right?
God,
and that's one of the reasons why I'm incorporating this back into my speaking engagements and what I'm doing.
It's legit.
I think we undervalue confidence and progress, the power of confidence and power of progress.
The entire, I was just reading a thing about the stock market and how it's the day of this recording. I mean, it's taken a nosedive. Don't look at your 401k right now.
I won't.
But I was reading a thing and it was surprising to me just how much the market is dependent upon people's confidence. I can't tell you how many times a contract with a client, 100% because of their confidence in the market.
Right.
I know that's an external view of it, but it is super important.
That's the thing. And that's the thing is that here's the thing. And it's sad, but during COVID, my business did extremely well. But I think one of the reasons, and it wasn't just because I was an HR firm and quite frankly, everyone was just losing it. And there were a lot of employment laws to keep up with.
Yeah, you can say it. We collectively lost our shit.
Yeah, we did.
2020.
We did. Everyone. But it was also the fact that I just decided, I was like, nah, I'm not we're going to do the pivots we need to. And every day it was my mindset of if we have to pivot, we pivot and we look at what's needed right now. And I looked at problems to solve, but I had to keep that confidence of, no,
I can do it.
I can do it. We can do it. So
and I'm not going to bail out.
I'm not bailing out. Yeah. So, and I really think that led to 100% year-over-year growth.
So I had a similar conversation. This is taking it into a personal, darker area, but he's not a good friend of mine, but he's a friend of mine, and he's married, and they both were, I used to see them kind of both every once in a while, and his husband disappeared for a while. I was like, what's going on? Well, his husband was on drugs. He was deep into it, right? Deep issues. Tried to hurt himself. And and then was in rehab and working. And I was just talking to this guy, and I was like, being supportive and stuff. But then we just started talking. I was like, man, at what point in your life as an adult in a relationship do you decide I'm gonna stick by this person?
Yeah,
because he decided to stick by him. And from what I understand, they're doing okay now. But like, at what point do you decide this is my person? Like, I'm sticking by this person. There's some dark, deep, terrible shit that they're going through, but I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna help them, even if it hurts me.
Yeah.
But like, what is that commitment? Like, where does that come from with people? Like, at what point do you decide that? This to me, this is glass walking. This is what I started thinking through all this stuff, like whoosh, 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 and I'm just like thinking through all these feelings when I think of this stuff.
I'm not. I'm a relationship expert, but I think so. I was just thinking about that, and I think that's going to be a very personal decision of intuitively knowing,
of course,
like intuitively knowing in your body, like, hey, this is just it's like a ride or die, right?
Yeah.
You just, because think about, like, I know my best friends, right? It's so random, like two humans come together, have no connection with each other,
so
no
weird, isn't it?
obligation. But guess what? I know I'm a ride or die for her. I know if she calls me in the middle of the night, I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna ride, right? And so
yeah, I've got people like that.
I think, and that there's some kind of energetic pull and energetic chemistry that tells me, like, it was somewhat instant.
Yeah.
And it just tells me, like, nah, this is my person. It's like one of my people.
Yeah, right.
So, and I don't think that anybody can even give you advice and say, oh, I wouldn't do that. Or,
no,
that's
right.
No way.
That's like, what makes it difficult.
You don't know what you'll do until you're put in that situation.
But
right?
To me, the glass walking really triggered that stuff to me. It really made me think about those moments and like the moments of commitment.
The moments of
I'd say the rebar. I'd done the rebar. We shift gears a little bit to the rebar.
Do it.
I've done that too, and I felt like that was very similar.
Do you know what was cool about that? My experience. So it was Scott and Diane. So Diane is also the co-instructor. She's more operational, more behind the scenes, but she pulled me aside. So I think we did 6mm, 8mm, and 10mm.
Oh wow.
Yes. Rebar. And so
for those of you listening,
yeah,
two people. There's if you know what rebar is, a long bar they put in walls to help strengthen walls, but you stand between each other and you come together walking towards each other while putting the rebar in your throat.
Yep.
Until you bend it.
Easy peasy. And no, I don't want to downplay it. It is a physical and mental exercise.
It is. Right.
And you have to also have a lot of trust with that person. And even I didn't know the person. Like, I just met Peter. He's a paramedic for rugby teams in the UK. And he's like, I'm doing this for confidence. And he wouldn't mind me saying this. And I knew him for 1.5 days. And it could get bad if you don't communicate with the person. You don't have the same plan and also the same type of energy going towards each other. Yeah. So that's just a part of it. I wanted to, play that out. But the rebar, so Diane takes me to the side and she's like, yeah, Jada, so we don't recommend that that women really do the 10mm until you've done this a few times, right? Sure, okay. I mean, like, we have grown men that have like lost their voice and other things that have happened because the 10mm. And I was like, And I said, Peter, do you want to do this? And he's like, yeah. And I was like,
we're doing it.
We're doing it, man. We're doing it. Yeah. And it was so sweet. Like, she was like so scared for me. And she's like, listen, this is your third time bending a rebar with your throat. She's like, okay.
Yeah.
And I saw her face on the other side. And I was like, nah, we're doing this.
Yeah, we're doing it.
That was awesome.
That's cool. You did the arrows as well?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That was fun. I don't know if you've tried this, but arrows, not when someone's holding a board holding it, but doing it against a tree.
I've done it against a tree.
Much harder.
In a wall. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
A solo arrow break is much harder.
Is it really?
In my opinion, than someone holding the board and you just pressing it.
Huh.
I think it's because there's a little give in their arms, right? So if you want to talk about the mechanics of it, and there's no give in the tree or the wall.
Yeah, no, you have to do all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all constant pressure. And
Can we talk about something we haven't talked about?
Yeah.
The Lego walking.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Dude.
Was that the worst of all?
The worst. Notice I don't mention it a lot. Notice like I'm not advertising this.
I think I have enough Legos from both my kids to actually pull one of those off.
I wish you well.
We probably have 3 tons of Legos
Oh my
in
God.
storage. Lego walk. I've seen that as a joke. Like you put that out there, I was like, that's got to be the humor part.
It's not the humor part.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually, and I asked them, I kept asking like about their business model and like what's really popular in the UK. And firewalking is so popular in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, and Scotland and other places. So, and the glass walking popular, but the Lego walking is super popular. And I'm like,
that's really
is this like cruel? Is this like cruel? And it wasn't that bad, but it was really funny. If you hear my video, that I actually mistakenly let the audio play on my Instagram. And I know, no, for some reason, this is what came out. Rah, rah, rah. And then I think I said, Sugarfoot mother clucker.
Well, I would think, you correct me if I'm wrong. Let me just guess here. I think you would probably be less careful and more likely to hurt yourself.
Yes, it is very true.
Because Legos don't seem dangerous until you step on one at 3 a.m. when you're trying to get out of bed.
Exactly. Truly. Yeah. Now think of like 1,000 that were laid out there.
Wow.
So I do want to let you know, I only did it a couple times and I was done. I was like,
wow.
Hey,
I'd rather do the glass.
I was like, can I walk on glass again? I'll walk on fire glass together to not walk on the Legos.
Yeah, light the glass on fire.
But there are a few folks in my group that like found that as just like it was the transformation that they needed. Like it was powerful for them, and you could see on their face, and maybe because they have stepped on a Lego or two, and now they're walking on 1,000. And so, but I said, yeah, I'm not seeing the appeal of this one, but I mean, I'll do it for you, but
That's funny.
I'm gonna stick to my glass and my fire.
That's funny. Not the Legos. Yeah, I didn't expect that.
You didn't expect the Legos?
Mm-mm.
Hey, like, what was really interesting, I think that businesses are set up a little bit differently. It's seemingly to me. I've worked with a few other businesses in the UK as well. And like for our types of events here in the US, we're very much like, hey, we're going to make sure, we get a waiver, a liability waiver. But in addition to that, we're going to make sure we give you the full preview of what to expect. We're going to make sure that, listen, I barely knew anything. And I was like,
that's the best way to do it.
And it was the best way to do it.
So can I tell you something I've done?
Please.
It's pretty weird.
I can't wait.
I put a 12-inch needle through my hand.
Okay.
Did you do any of that stuff?
Negatory.
Okay.
You want to? Can you teach me?
Yeah. There's probably, I don't remember exactly as far as I went, but there's like 3 other levels. So that apparently what I did was like level 1, I think. So they're in your hand through the tendons and spaces. There are voids in your body, so right?
Like right here.
It's kind of like a magic trick or whatever, but that was probably one of the scariest things I've ever done.
Really?
When you're just going with that needle and it just goes in your hand and it's in and you're like, you see it coming out the other side and it has to break through the skin of the other side and you're like, what am I doing?
I think we can put together a festival, like the
guy that was doing it was it was like 30 of us sitting much like this, and he's going around and he's like, it was me and my buddy were sitting together, and we know him and we have history, but he's like, he's got the needles and he's like, you don't have to do this. Would you like to do this? Oh yes, sir. Next person, would you like to do this? Or like, He's like, okay, cool. Yeah. Would you like to do this? Oh yes, sir. And he comes to me and he's like, here's your needle. All right. Would you like to do this? And we're like, why didn't I get an option?
Wait a second.
Yeah. Wait a second. I don't have like, oh, you're doing
I'm glad you did that. Yeah. What did it do for you? What happened?
That one in particular, it made me really trust myself. I think made me trust that I can do it and kind of manage it myself. It was sort of like potentially managing your own emotions and things. And I think that's what I got out of it.
Oof. Okay.
It was pretty cool.
I think so. Now that you've named that, I think in looking back, that was a big thing. I think that's led to the confidence. Is like trusting myself, being in tune with my body, trusting my body as well. So yeah, it's all, this is a good reflection time. Folks are asking me questions and things of that nature, but it's diving into, and, I'm doing journaling and whatnot, but even the lessons and the impact, that was just a couple weeks ago, but it's still coming out, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you gotta lean into it and really let it expand into everything you do. So
truth.
so you've done it. Have you gotten any negative fallout from it, from people, or just people like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah.
I've lived with that for years.
I've
But
gotten even professionally though, like not
yeah.
just my family or my aunts calling, but
Oh, 100%.
professionally, it's like, what are like you're in HR. Like what is
You're not allowed to be different.
yeah. And like it's so interesting how people want to put you in a box
Yes, they
so
do.
much,
Yeah.
right? And you're in HR. Like what are you even doing? Like what are you even gonna do with this? And how are you spending your time? And like, are you making good are you having a midlife crisis? Like that's the maybe. I don't know.
I already had one of those.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I'm probably on my second or third one, but no.
Yeah.
No. And I'm just like, everyone that knows me, first off, what if I just want to cross something off my bucket list and I just want to do something?
Yeah.
But that's not the point. Like I'm very purposeful in the choices I make and decisions. Now, I didn't know the flipping all the agenda. But that's not the point. I'm purposeful with a little room for adventure.
Yeah.
And I think it's also what helped me is in trusting myself and feeling really good about my decisions. I was like, you don't get it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's nice.
And it's also finding your people in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I now know kind of your frame, how you're going to stay in the box. I wish I could help with that. But, if you ever want to visit outside your box, come visit. Like,
it's kind of awesome.
I'm feeling really good.
Well, it's like, how do you explain it to someone who's not willing to explore enough to see it?
Ooh.
I don't think.
Yes.
But you said you got to be willing to let things go. I think at that point you just have to be willing to like, well, you're just not going to be part of this.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Sounds like you're not going to show up to my firewalk.
Yeah, probably not.
And that's okay. Like, but I think it's also, you know this from a like website marketing perspective. I'm kind of in this period of life of niching down.
Okay.
In a way, right? And working with folks that are forward thinking, growth minded. And when you are growth minded, it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily engage in a firewalk, but it means that you are at least expanding, your view, your horizon to say, what else is possible for me? Right? I want more out of this life. What does more mean to me though?
Yeah.
And those are the people that
cool.
I want to surround myself around.
You do have to want to be better.
Have to.
And better is relative, but like
it's relative.
You do have to be willing to work on yourself. And there are so many people that just aren't. I sound like I'm crapping on people, but it's not that they're
it's just true.
But it's not that they're like purposefully like, I don't want to improve.
Right.
Like that's weird. But like they just don't know.
And I don't know. I'm allergic to complacency. Like I am.
Are you?
Like I don't know what that would even look like. And I don't like, and doesn't mean that I can't lay on the couch for a Netflix day. No, it means that I have a thirst for learning and a thirst for people and a thirst for exploring and creating. Like I don't even know what it'd be like. And I start thinking about retirement, right?
Yeah, I know. It kind of gives me the ick.
But I don't think it has to, because we're signing up for the stigma of what the world has told us what retirement looks like.
That's right.
I don't think that's going to be my retirement.
Okay, cool.
I sense that I probably will be on my 16th business, and I may be leading retreats. I may have a retreat center. I don't think retirement is going to be. And I love to travel and I love to spend time with my family. Why can't we do it all?
Yeah,
I'm not going to probably be like, I don't know, sitting in my recliner and being like, hey, I don't know, when are the grandkids coming over? Yes, hang out with the grandkids, but take them on the adventures.
Right.
I'm rewriting, I think, what my definition of success is. And I hope that I'm helping other people rewrite that too.
That's badass.
Thanks. I enjoy it.
Jada, you are a badass.
Badass.
Thank you for sharing your firewalk story.
I'm honored. I want more people to know about firewalking.
Right.
I want it to be more popular in the US if we're doing it right and how we're using it for collective good. But let's make it happen.
You're a good ambassador for it.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate you.